But the one way that we do get our support, even if it's for free, is through engagement from the audience. And this is to you and the people who watch, and not just applying to me. You need to like, comment, and subscribe and engage with the creators you enjoy.
No, Xanderhal, you need to engage the viewers so that they feel inclined to do that.
Look at the rates of engagement on these channels that you enjoy, and think about how often you yourself don't engage with these channels by leaving likes and comments.
It's your fault. It's your guys' fault, the viewers. All right, you have a responsibility to like and comment on the videos. I don't have any responsibility to say something that would make you like or dislike the video, or say something that would make you want to agree or disagree with me. No, 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 that's not on me. I just put the content out and you guys owe me that.
I hate to say it, but if you're one of those people, you're part of the problem. Channels on, or any.
Okay, he actually says you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem. And the thing is, it doesn't even necessarily have to be positive engagement, right? Like you can get your videos to do very well by bothering people. That's what I do pretty regularly with my content. Like the stuff that I did on that Struthless guy, the video has, let me check what it's at. It has a 6% like to dislike ratio. It has 15 likes, 233 dislikes. That's not even the worst. That might be the worst in terms of pure number of dislikes, but 6%, I think I have like 4 or 5 videos that have a worse dislike ratio than that. I have some that are at 2 or 3%. And that has 79 comments and 1,500 views on my channel with 700 subscribers, right? You get engagement by making content that people want to engage with, not by saying, oh, guys, please, I really need you to like and subscribe.
From Yasuke Vermeulen in chat says, have you considered making better content? Must be the viewer's fault. You are clearly a conservative in chat to concern troll. I probably look awful right now, but I just threw up. Not gonna lie. Had real bad.
Oh no, Zan, I feel so bad for you. Why did you throw up?
I am pretty certain I know the reason why it happened, though. I wasn't sick, it ended immediately. I didn't feel sick or anything like that, besides just, the intense pressure in my stomach. It's because I'm bulking.
It's because he's bulking. And he gets more into specifics of what his bulking entails here. I mean, how long have you been doing this bulking, Xanderhal? Right? Because you look like you're in my weight class still. The begging on YouTube has gotten completely out of hand. These people have gotten way too used to doing hardly any work and making more money than 99% of people, that they've gotten it in their heads that that's the way it's supposed to be. They're not supposed to have to work like the rest of us, all right? That's for the peasants to put in time in order to receive compensation. These people think they should just be able to say, oh, I'm struggling, I'm having a hard time. Please just give me money. Over the last couple months, the quartering has been going on and on about his failing coffee company, and he asked his fans to literally bail him out. Those are his words, guys, please bail me out. And they did. They bought a bunch of his coffee, and days later, he's on Twitter bragging about how, oh, best month I've ever had, talking about building a custom RC car track in his backyard. And this guy, he's not buying like a Walmart RC car. He's buying like $1,000+ RC cars. Then we had Innuendo Studios, some Breadtuber who says, guys, please, I've been doing everything I can. I put out 5 videos already this year. 5, maybe 10-minute videos. I've just been exhausted and I haven't paid my taxes in years. Please, could you bail me out? And the fans say, sure, here's $150,000. So now he's in the clear. He can go right back to uploading 5 videos a year, sitting around playing video games, watching movies, which that's what he said he did with his time. And then we had Struthless just a couple days ago, million sub YouTuber. He says, oh, guys, I signed a bad contract years ago, and I really screwed myself over. Could you please just give me 200,000 Australian dollars? I saw it worked for Innuendo Studios, which he did say that. He said he saw another YouTuber do this and it worked for him. So why not give it a shot himself? And the fans do it. They give him $200,000. It's just completely, utterly pathetic to me that these people would rather stoop to the levels of being so pathetic that they're just going to beg and plead for money like a common bum rather than work. Because these people aren't in a dire situation like a common bum is, somebody who's living on the streets. They are living comfortable lives in their homes, and they have the means to make more money than 95, 99% of us. Very easily, too. They wouldn't have to work nearly as hard as the rest of us to make way more money. Well, I found a guy who did the same thing, tried the same tactic of begging and being pathetic, but it didn't work nearly as well as for him. So glad to see that. Nice change of pace where somebody's being pathetic and begging and pleading for money and doesn't really work for him. It works to some extent, but not really. Here we have Xanderhal, and he's 2 hours into his stream at this point. And the whole stream is 4.5 hours.
Anyway, guys, let us move on. But first, I gotta update the dono goal to reflect the generous, singular.
You see here, this is his dono goal bar, $0. And apparently, if he gets to the $100, he's gonna put on a onesie. Not sure about that. I don't know about the whole humiliating yourself for money. Hey guys, give me money and I'll do this embarrassing thing. Seems like a bad idea. Seems like lol cow behavior. But maybe things are really that dire for Xanderhal.
But first, I gotta update the dono goal to reflect the generous, singular donation we've gotten so far. Thank you for the $5, guys. I appreciate it.
$5 in 2 hours. You guys making $2.50 an hour at this rate. That's less than I paid servers when I hired them to work in Wisconsin.
Looks like I'm gonna have to make those groceries last this week. All right.
And this is just diabolical behavior. Oh, geez, guys. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to really stretch the groceries now. Ugh, I mean, I'm practically starving. You wouldn't want me to starve, would you guys? Oh, oh, I'm sorry. Did you hear my stomach rumbling? I'm so sorry. I hope you didn't hear that. That's embarrassing. Really, framing it as if it's this dire thing where, oh man, my health and safety is at risk if you guys don't donate to me. All right, well, maybe it's time to change things up, all right? Maybe it's time you get that part-time job. Maybe adjust your content strategy. Maybe do anything other than beg and plead publicly.
Back to it, everybody. What should we do next? What topic shall we make?
Okay, so I think that's all we really need there. We'll jump ahead in the stream a little bit here to 2 hours 46 minutes.
Anyway, Aimway921, let me give you a big thank you for the $5 dues. It really does mean a lot. Thank you. Said, I have nothing to say. Just wanted to donate. Well, hey, it really means a lot. It helps the channel to keep on going.
I didn't want to say anything because if he accurately described how he was feeling about giving that money, he would just be roasting Xanderhal and like, wow, man, that was a pretty pathetic display you put on there. Talking about how you're not going to be able to afford groceries at this rate, so I'll just give you the money and not say anything. All right, that's Thumper told me. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So I'm going to listen to Thumper and just give you $5.
Just wanted to donate. Well, hey, it really means a lot. It helps the channel to keep on going. Progressive content is not really the cream of the crop in terms of YouTube's algorithm, and
this is just complete cope. How many Midas Touch just surpassed Joe Rogan in the last couple months? I don't know if they're still ahead of him, but they were the most popular podcast in the English-speaking world recently. I think they're making all right money, all right? I've watched a couple of their videos. They always have at least 1 minute plus long sponsorship video every single video. I think they're doing all right with the progressive content. You got Vosh, you got Hassan, you got like the Brian Tyler Cohen type people who have millions of subs. I don't know if David Pakman counts as progressive or whatever, but there are multiple of those type of guys making very, very good money doing progressive politics online. But Xanderhal is gonna frame it as if, oh, guys, I'm really fighting the system, and fighting the system is just not that profitable. So your contributions to the cause are very much appreciated.
The cream of the crop in terms of YouTube's algorithm. And, every bit of support goes a long way. We're small creators. Even the big creators are small creators in the online left, outside of a few exceptions. So every bit of support you guys send, whether it be to, say you're a big fan of Surus or Shark or Dylan, handful of other creators that just don't come to mind at the very moment because I got a bad memory. If you like these figures, make sure you drop likes, comments, subs, and support their content. Same goes for me if you want to help my channel as well. Anyway, thank you for the $5, Amway. I really appreciate it. And then Ride the Rails, big shout out to you as well. Thank you for the 10 Tier 1 gifted subs. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the $50. Hot damn, thank you.
So you can see, I said it doesn't work as well as with the other people we've covered recently, but it still works. He wretchedly begs, gets down on the ground and grovels. And people are like, oh, wow, that was really pathetic. I don't really want to see that. Here you go, buy some groceries.
Gifted to Alice Hanjad.
It reminds me, I have a D-Sig segment that'll do in the next, I don't know, week or two here, where he said that he got hacked for $600 and he's stressing about being able to pay rent. So some loser who he berates on his stream all of the time, I can't remember his name right now, but it's one of the regulars who he talks down to all of the time, donates $500-600 to the guy. He's like, oh, here you go. Here's rent money, bro. I don't understand how this works on people. I don't get it.
Exodium, Blue Girls, The Real Zam, Mari Spare, Doodlecat6061, Vegan Anarchist 92.
He's sitting here, he's reading off the people who got gifted subs. Who wants to listen to this? Maybe this is why people don't donate to your content. You thought this was worth broadcasting. Oh, let me just list people who are currently in the chat when somebody gifted memberships. That'll be interesting, huh?
Scapegoat, Snow Owl 0101, and KGB. I hope you guys really enjoy those free blue names. I really appreciate it. It says, I just got my tax refund back. Hell yeah. So I figured I'd share a little bit with you. Oh, I very much appreciate it. Thank you so much. Sorry that you're, well, basically we're all paying for Israel to kill Palestinians. At least a little bit of our money is going to Israel killing Palestinians. And, let's just not think about that too much, huh? Let's just enjoy the fact we got our tax refunds. Let's go. Thank you for the 10 Tier 1 gift subs.
You think maybe that's why not a lot of people tune into your streams? Hey, who wants to think about that? Oh, yeah, my taxes, they go to killing innocent civilians. That's fun, right? That's good stream content. Like if you're gonna give people an actual breakdown and cover the news or something, and that gets mentioned or touched upon, sure. But when somebody donates money to you, you're like, oh man, doesn't it suck that we're all funding people dying? Isn't that a total bummer, guys? Yeah, it is. Maybe don't bring that up when we're trying to have a fun stream.
And I hope everyone who got gifted likes the new blue name. You've got that for, I think, a month. I doubt Ride the Rails just gifted 10 Tier 1 gifted subs for 3 months. That'd be insane. But I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for the kindness. Let me update the dono goal. Someone in chat said that their pee is yellow. They're not drinking enough water. You're not drinking enough water, dog. What the fuck? You need to hydrate before you dihydrate. I demand it of you right now. You guys want to hear something embarrassing?
Okay, yeah, I'm down for that.
I was today years old when I realized what the he needs some milk. What she meant when she said that in that video. I assume you guys all know what I'm talking about. That, like, classic meme. Let me see if I can find the video. He needs some milk original.
Fuck. Oh! Somebody! Oh! He needs some milk! Fuck.
now this is what we're doing on stream. How many years old is this meme? It's gotta be at least a decade old. Oh, hey guys, you wanted to know a little tidbit about a 10-year-old meme? Wow. Wow. Really not surprised it took you 2 hours to make $5 when this is the level of the content.
So I always wondered, like, why did she say that? I mean, it's funny, but why did she say that? He fell face first in the concrete and probably knocked out teeth. That's like, or chipped teeth. And so if you're going to like do something about it, you need like a glass of milk to put the teeth in, so you can go and hopefully get them fixed or put back in, because they can do that if you get milk. So I realized that today. Oh, she was saying get some milk for his teeth. That's why she said that. It didn't really make sense unless you realize that context. If he fell on his face and probably fucked up his teeth, and she probably thought the same.
Okay, yeah, I'm so glad I know that. That adds absolutely nothing to the humor of the video. Honestly, that might make it less entertaining. Like, oh, so that isn't just some nonsensical thing that she said. There's some legitimacy to his need for milk. Wow, I really appreciate that video so much more now.
Same thing. That is what I assume the context of that video is. That audio is like very popular, so you hear it all the time.
So that wasn't really embarrassing. I was hoping for something a little bit better. But all right, we'll jump ahead here because he's going to talk about Innuendo Studios, the guy who said, "Oh, guys, please, I've been killing myself trying to upload 5 videos a year, and I just can't do it anymore. I'm utterly exhausted." He scoffed at the idea of having free time and begged for people to pay his back taxes and his credit card bills. So Xanderhal is able to find some solidarity with that guy.
Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. Today is a sad day, and this is going to be a sad segment, full disclosure, as we're going to have to get very real, and we're going to have to talk about a bit of a reality of being a progressive content creator that doesn't really get talked about much because complaining about your station and your reach as a creator online, especially on YouTube, is seen as very presumptuous, very
Yeah, as if you're entitled to making a living doing YouTube videos, which nobody is. That's why it's very obnoxious or presumptuous. That's not bad. I don't mind that word to describe this. That's pretty solid. It definitely is. There's an implication that you have a right to continue making a living by uploading YouTube videos, and especially when it's somebody like Innuendo Studios, who, including the begging video, had put out 6 videos in a year. Including that video, I'm pretty sure he was still at under an hour of content for the last year. But in his mind, he's entitled to making a living that way. Not only is he entitled to making a living, he's entitled to a lump sum being given to him to pay off all of his debts and then some. And and that was so obnoxious because after that happens and he closes down the donations, like, oh, I don't even know what to do with this. I guess I'll just like tune up my bike or something. Okay. So he's just gonna end up right back where he was if that's his mentality.
ungrateful, demanding, insincere. Like, I could go on for like an hour listing the ways that people kind of feel and react to that discussion. But when it comes to the online left, I think most people who are part of it watch content from creators that push progressive ideology. It's not as simple as just content to them, or to most of you guys, right? I think a lot of it is also the success of progressive content online, in the same way that success for conservative content online more or less directly translates to influence and reach in changing people's politics. And so,
Yeah, I think you guys are making a bit much of what you do. You really think you're impacting politics in any meaningful way by doing this content.
growing the online left and growing creators within the online left is the prerogative of the left as
I think it goes way more the other way around, where the general sentiment goes back and forth, the whole pendulum thing. And depending on which way the pendulum is swinging, the type of content on that side of the pendulum will get more views and be more popular at that time. I think it's way more that going on than people making left-leaning or right-leaning content and that changing people's politics.
creators within the online left is the prerogative of the left as a whole, or it should be. And I've talked about this a lot. Talked about how, I really appreciate every bit of support you guys send my way, how much it means to me, and how much it truly helps. And I've seen comments from people that kind of assume I'm rich or well off. More common back in the day, but less so now.
Yeah, maybe back in the day I could see that a little bit more, but now it looks like he's filming his videos in a community center basement or something like that. Before, I remember him filming in what looked to be a decently nice apartment. It was a very white looking set. So it kind of looked like one of those modern, uninspired apartments or whatever, something like that. But I don't think anybody's thinking you're rich these days, Xanderhal.
But like still, it happens from time to time. And I find that very interesting. I feel like
Oh, I didn't even think I mentioned his channel's doing much worse than it used to do. See, everything's taking forever to load, but okay, we got this already. His streams 2,500, 1.8 thousand, 1.8, 2.5, 1.8, 1.5. And that's not great because that combines live viewers. If you've watched enough of it live, that gets counted as a view, and then if you go back and watch the VOD, that gets counted as a view. Not great. And then he's got what, he gets like 6, 3. Oh, the Innuendo Studios got 13. But otherwise, yeah, it looks like he gets 3,000 to 6,000 regularly, and then every once in a while he has a video that exceeds 10,000. So yeah, it definitely looks like he's struggling a little bit more these days than he was, because this guy has 108,000 subs.
like still, it happens from time to time. And I find that very interesting. I feel like there's a highly inflated perception of how stable the online left is as a viable community right now, especially ever since Trump won. And we're going to be segueing into the main point of this in a second, but I'm giving some setup. Since Trump won, there has been a noticeable decline in viewership, sub growth, and right after Trump won, there was a big trend where hundreds of thousands of progressive content watchers on YouTube, as a form of protest, got together and mass unsubbed from progressive channels they watch. I lost like a couple thousand. I know that Brian Taylor Cohen lost like 40,000, 60,000 subs before it let up. And it's been pretty slow for all these channels ever since.
Mm, I don't think that's really true. Like maybe people did lose a bunch of subs, but subs don't really matter these days. Because even if you unsubscribe, but you've watched people's videos recently, YouTube will probably recommend a couple of videos from them to you still. And then if you watch them, YouTube will keep recommending them to you. Nobody goes to their subscription tab on YouTube anymore. Like the only time I ever do that is I have a channel where I just follow stuff for the YouTube drama, and I'll see sometimes I can find a decent topic that way. But otherwise, nobody's looking at the subscription tab. And from what I've seen, lots of progressive channels have been getting lots more views lately. Like I just mentioned earlier, Midas Touch surpassed Joe Rogan in the podcast rankings. They were number one for a while. I don't know if they still are. They might still be. I don't know. But so that this is just not true, right? Maybe for you specifically, Xanderhal, views are down, but this is not an across the board for progressives type of thing. If anything, it seems to be the opposite.
For the most part, compared to before Trump won.
But if you're doing stuff like talking about how you're not really going to be able to afford groceries and explaining some lame factoids about a 10-year-old meme, then, maybe people aren't going to be as engaged in your content.
Ever since, for the most part, compared to before Trump won. this is showing a clear sign of a demotivation within the online left. And as much as that might not have an impact on voter numbers, like, sure, those people are still going to go out and vote. I'm sure they're still protesting, engaging in direct.
Okay, so it seems like here he's kind of admitting that the content, the the progressive YouTube comment has nothing to do with real world politics. Because he's saying, yeah, everybody's numbers on YouTube and stuff, they went down. But I don't think it's going to impact voting numbers or protests or anything like that. Okay, was it just sounds like you're saying what you guys do doesn't actually have any real world impact then, which I would agree with.
Direct action and all those good things that you should be doing, it is still a tragedy, I think. I don't think they're doing anything wrong. They don't have to watch progressive content, but I think it's a tragedy that we're losing that online community that you could argue brought the right its victory, the biggest victory politically they've had in ages with this election. And so, with all that said, we've seen a
Wait, so is he actually saying that the progressive content is why Trump won? So he's not even really saying that it doesn't have an impact. He's saying it has a negative impact, which that I actually do find more believable. Somebody like Destiny, I could see more people voting for Trump to spite Destiny because they hate Destiny so much and they want to see him cope and seethe, that they would vote for Trump rather than people find Destiny's content and they're like, oh wow, this guy's has a lot of good ideas. I love the way he habitually violates people's consent and owns people in debates. I'm gonna vote for Harrison Biden or whatever. Or Harrison Waltz. That's a little bit more believable. I still don't think that has much of a real world impact, but I do find it more believable that people would vote against the left leaning candidate to spite the destinies of the world than they would vote for the lefty candidate because they found Destiny or whoever and they're like, oh man, this guy totally changed my worldview.
And so, with all that said, we've seen a lot of progressive content creators lately that many of you guys probably think of as household names having to take hiatuses or outright quitting YouTube because, frankly, being a progressive content creator is not worth it for the most part. It takes a lot of hard, diligent work to make it viable. You guys ever see how often I upload and how often I stream? I have to, bro. Um,
Hey, it's not that much work though, because Xanderhal basically does videos in the same method that I do. I don't live stream, so I just sit here, watch a video in real time, pretty much never upload it. I slap an intro and an outro on there and I upload it. That's what his segments are like. And what does he do? Like a video or two a day? 6 hours ago, 12 hours ago, then 6 days, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 8, 9, 10, 10, 11, 11, 11. So I'll give him like 2 videos a day. He had like 5 days in a row there where he didn't upload a video. I don't know how regular of a thing that is. But so a video or two a day, and then it's just what 20 to 40 minutes of him sitting there reacting to something. I mean, this is not grueling work, all right? Like if I really wanted to, I could pump out a video every day. All right. There's just not always something that I'm interested in covering every day. That's usually why I don't put out a video every day. But if it's your job, how you really can't find something to talk about for 20 to 40 minutes and upload a video of that? And if you do that, you're gonna act like it's hard work, like you're grinding. No, it's not grinding.
yeah,
Oh, I wanted to check. How many live streams does he do though? 2, 6, 7, 9, 11, 12. So 5 streams a week, maybe? 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it looks like he does about 5 streams. Yeah, 5 streams a week he does, it looks like. Yeah, that's not grinding. That's not super hard work. You know, there are types of content where I would believe if you're putting out that much content, you are grinding. If you're doing more researched pieces or you got more editing or animations to it and you want to say you're grinding, sure, I could believe that. But if you're doing content in the style that Xanderhal and I are doing, you're not grinding because you do 4-hour streams a week and you put out 1 or 2 videos a day. That is not grinding.
I upload and how often I stream. I have to, bro. Um, yeah, Shark300, I believe no longer makes content based on what people in chat were saying, which fucking hell, that sucks balls because Shark is great.
Oh yeah, what a bummer. Shark's not doing content anymore. That's terrible. What a travesty.
Cirrus took a hiatus but is back, I believe. Though I highly recommend you guys go send support Cirrus's way because I know for a fact Cirrus is not at the level of comfort that he can forgo shoutouts and recommendations for more support going his way. So
Oh yeah, I'm sure your shout out's gonna do so much for him.
go drop some support. I can tell you for sure that while I get by, I just barely get by. I'm probably not in a better financial situation than many of you are. So
Maybe get that part-time job then. Maybe stream more than 20 to 25 hours a week.
you may be surprised to find out, while yes, the listed YouTubers are not exactly massive creators. I'm not huge, Shark's not necessarily huge, and Cirrus isn't huge. A creator you might consider borderline huge is one with over 500,000 subscribers who has made one of the most beloved series in online lefty content history. That being Innuendo Studios, who made the alt-right playbook series. You know,
I can't believe people are just buying this. The real Zam in chat says the alt-right playbook guy, that's Innuendo Studios, literally said YouTube made him go bankrupt. Yeah, he said that, but it's not true. His financial irresponsibility made him almost go bankrupt. It was not YouTube that did that to him. It was his lack of work ethic and financial irresponsibility.
those cute little animated videos that explain the tactics of the right and radicalization in the alt-right that I've been covering lately? He just put out a video called Being a YouTuber Bankrupted Me, in which he announces that he will be taking an indefinite hiatus from YouTube. Basically meaning he may never come back. But he might one day, but don't expect it. And it's simply because he can't afford to do YouTube full-time anymore. And as much as it may seem like, oh, well, you can just do a full or part-time job and do YouTube on the side, right? The creative process of YouTube, especially with how brutal the algorithm is, requires a surprising amount of time and energy dedicated to thinking about what you can make that will do well on the platform, and frankly trying to learn.
Like, no, it's just not that hard, right? And I say this from the lofty heights of a 700 subscriber channel, all right? I'm not killing it by any means, but I started out with 0 subs a few months ago, and I regularly get thousands of views on my videos. Like, it's not this crazy hard. It's really not. You have to have a segment that's interesting, and then you need to be able to make a good thumbnail and a good title. That's really all there is to it. And you know, sometimes I can't figure out that great of a title or a thumbnail, and the videos don't do as well. But that doesn't mean it's hard. It's not this draining thing.
How the platform works, because it's always ever changing. It's never static. You can never know the algorithm and then just be content. You have to be nonstop dedicating your time to learning about it. And there's a million other things that come with content creation that go along with it. And, you know, he's the guy who makes those well-made, scripted, well-edited, animated videos. He has to put a lot.
Okay, they are barely animated. He has like a picture of a stick figure on there. He doesn't make the mouths move. He doesn't make them do actions or anything. They just pop up on screen, and then he'll animate like the words on there sometimes.
Lot of work in, and he makes infrequent uploads, meaning he requires or relies, I should say, on a very high level of engagement from his audience that does watch his videos because he uploads infrequently, because it's a lot of work put into very high quality videos. And on top of that, he relies heavily on
The videos that he did, like I said, he didn't even do an hour of content in the last year. Or maybe at one point in time he was grinding harder. I saw some videos on his channel that were like over half an hour. So maybe at one point in time he was grinding a little bit more, and you could say that. That's not the case for him lately. Right? The guy is used to skating by, making Patreon money to pay the bills. And he got used to that. And he he was very presumptuous and thought that he should just get to continue that lifestyle. And when he couldn't, he just decided to beg.
Put into very high quality videos. And on top of that, he relies heavily on financial support from his followers in the form of his Patreon, because he can't entirely rely on YouTube ad revenue, which essentially rewards you directly in correlation to how often you upload. The more you upload, the more likely YouTube is to financially treat you well. But even then,
Yes, and it's your choice what type of content that you do. So if you want to do the higher effort content, maybe live stream on the side too. Maybe have a second channel where you upload the segments from your stream so you can subsidize the higher effort stuff. Like, it's not as if these people who do the more edited content were assigned this and they're forced to stick to that. All right, if it's too much for you to do all that work and make a living that way, then you got to adjust your content strategy, not beg.
and you can't guarantee you're going to do well. Regardless, though, he relies heavily on Patreon and just the support of his fans to make ends meet. And, you know, he's an older guy. He's got, like, a financial history that came before YouTube. He's got debts and stuff. And, you know, people's...
No, the debts were from while he was doing YouTube, while he was being an idiot, watching movies and playing video games. This is stuff that he said he spends time on in the video where he's begging for money. All right? He says, oh, yeah, I do a 1-minute review once a week for the video games. Oh, wow, that really makes it worth it for you to be sitting around playing video games for hours a week and then beg for money.
Financial burden is different in a case-by-case basis. I think with the amount of money he makes, I'd probably be fine for the rest of my life, but in his case, it's not enough for him to make it even. And so one of the best progressive content creators out there, someone with over 500,000 subscribers for financial reasons, is quitting YouTube. I've talked a lot lately about how desperately we need progressive content viewers to lock the fuck in and make it a cultural point of defiance to support the content that they watch and enjoy from progressive creators. Because yes, every single like, comment, sub, dono, everything, it all counts. It all makes...
Like, this is just not how it works. You cannot convince people that they need to more regularly like videos and comment on videos, right? If people feel so inclined, they will do that. But you know what makes people like or comment is engaging them with the content, all right? And the thing is, it doesn't even necessarily have to be positive engagement, right? Like you can get your videos to do very well by bothering people. That's what I do pretty regularly with my content. Like the stuff that I did on that Struthless guy, the video has, let me check what it's at. It has a 6% like to dislike ratio. It has 15 likes, 233 dislikes. And that's not even the worst. That might be the worst in terms of pure number of dislikes. But 6%, I think I have like 4 or 5 videos that have a worse dislike ratio than that. I have some that are at 2 or 3%. And that has 79 comments and 1,500 views on my channel with 700 subscribers, right? You get engagement by making content that people want to engage with, not by saying, oh, guys, please, I really need you to like and subscribe. Like, that can help a little bit with people who are already were inclined to do that. But it's not this thing on an ongoing basis where you can convince people, hey, when you're watching YouTube, you need to be better about liking and commenting on videos. Even if you don't have anything to say, just comment. Commenting for the engagement, commenting for the algorithm. Like, that's nonsense. Just make engaging content.
Makes a difference. So many people on the left, especially compared to the right, are very lax when it comes to engagement. I'd say this stream, I would guess, has had 1,000 people come through.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, that video that's at 15 or 16 likes and 233 dislikes, I got multiple subs off of that video, right? It's just a numbers game. Like, even if you put out content that irritates people and angers people, you can still skim a couple subscribers off of that and people who will come back because they're down to either disagree with you or they have a similar perspective to you. But this idea that I need everybody to be like-minded with me and like the video and comment just for the sake of it is total nonsense.
Through it so far, and probably less than 10% of them hit the like button. If you look at equivalent sized conservative streams on YouTube right now, their engagement rate is way higher. And for that reason, they grow to magnitudes the size mine or several other progressive channels you enjoy are.
Yeah, and do you think that's because they're saying, guys, I'm giving you this homework assignment. You need to like and comment on the videos. Or do you think the content is more engaging?
Several times faster, you know? Who remembers that channel, The Offensive T-Slur? The trans dude who makes anti-trans content? When I first covered him, he had 4,000 subscribers back in 2020. Now he sits at around 250,000 subscribers. Because the view...
Okay, and I don't know anything about this guy, the offensive T-slur, but I would imagine his content is more engaging. It probably bothers a lot of people, and that brings people in. And like I was saying earlier, he skims a couple people who agree with him off the top every time, and that's worked for him.
Viewers of his content, his fans, and the fans of right-wing content make it a cultural point to trigger the libs by ensuring they engage with their favorite creators and make them successful. When their favorite creator can afford to buy a compound or an underground skate park a la Tim Pool, it triggers the libs, and so they do it even harder. They make it a cultural point to support their creators, and meanwhile, if you have 500,000 subs on the left, this is what you can expect.
I just don't believe that this is the case. That the right is commenting and liking videos to stick it to the lefties. No, it's because they like the content. It's because they're engaged. This is just a load of crap.
Hey everyone. Ian.
I still can't believe how pathetic it was that he does this. In his edited video, he starts it off with a performative side.
What you can expect.
Hey everyone. Ian from Innuendo Studios here. Here to let you know that for the time being, Innuendo Studios is taking a break. I'm not sure for how long, and there's a chance it might be permanent. Well, you've seen the title of the video, so that is not...
Keep in mind, by the way, most progressive content creators such as myself, and I'm pretty sure Innuendo Studios as well, don't take sponsorships. I've taken one sponsorship ever, and it was because they're the one company that offered to send me a free sample of the product without even agreeing to the sponsorship before I accept. And I like the product, and so I took the sponsorship, and I don't regret it. People seem to like the product as well. It's the coldest water bottle. I still have mine, too. It's very good. Anyway, though, like, we don't generally take sponsorships, and if you watch YouTube often, you'll see how often YouTubers do take sponsorships. Like, large portions of the video are dedicated to some random product, oftentimes some bullshit scam mobile game. We don't do that most of the time. You could argue we should.
Oh, you're so much better than everybody else. You don't take sponsorships. Such good people. Like, I understand if there are certain companies that you don't want to do sponsorships for, and on some level I can respect that, but I don't care if you just think, oh, I'm too good for sponsorships, I'm above that. All right, just do the sponsorships or don't. But this acting high and mighty because, oh, you don't do it because you don't want to scam the audience or whatever. Like, look, even if a lot of these are kind of ripoffs or whatever, I don't think it's scamming people that you do a sponsorship segment. And because most people, they understand, oh, hey, this person's just trying to get a paycheck, all right? And they just skip past the sponsorship anyway. And a lot of the people who do the sponsorships or who buy stuff because they see the sponsorship, it's something that they were already thinking about trying. And they're like, oh, you know what? I was considering this. And they're plugging it. They get a kickback if I buy it. I'll try it. I'll go for it. And maybe sometimes it turns out that they wasted a little bit of money. But that's what they chose to do with their money. Right? If it actually is a scam like Honey or something, then you have more of a point. But if it's some stupid mobile game that asks you to buy the premium currency a lot, I don't think that's a scam. It's just a bad game.
Mobile game. We don't do that most of the time. You could argue we should, but trust me, the broader online left would not let us get away with it, and we would take a much bigger hit to our viability as creators in the long run if we did take sponsorships. Fundamentally, we have to rely on fan support in order to not come off as disingenuous in what we stand for. We are shooting ourselves in the foot when we take easy opportunities to become more financially stable and successful, because to an extent, there is a cultural expectation in the online left that if you're a progressive, you're not exactly rolling in the money, you're not taking easy money payoffs that might be somewhat principally against what you stand for. And I think that's a...
Oh, really? Not taking easy money payoffs? Like just coming on to a video and crying and moaning about how you've been financially irresponsible and then receiving $150,000? That's not an easy payout?
somewhat principally against what you stand for, and I think that's a good thing. But the one way that we do get our support, even if it's for free, is through engagement from the audience. And this is to you and the people who watch, and not just applying to me. You need to like, comment, and subscribe and engage with the creators you enjoy.
No, Xanderhal, you need to engage the viewers so that they feel inclined to do that.
Go to this video and drop support. It can't hurt.
Not hyperbole. It's not strictly speaking true. Like bankruptcy is only one of several options.
That's true. Tanky YouTubers do take sponsorships. Like I think I saw like on Twitter that like Denims is sponsored by like Raid Shadow Legends. So like yeah, no, Tanky, like the Tanky sphere of YouTubers do take sponsorships, but they get away with that kind of thing. Like if you're really on the more, you know, principle part of the left, let's be real, there's an expectation that you're not taking the popular YouTube sponsors because they keep getting outed as scams. Let's be real.
Right now, but it is a very...
I'm pretty sure when he's talking about scams, he's talking about stuff like established titles. If you want to call that a scam, I think you're a complete dope. All right? They said, oh yeah, if you buy this, you get a certificate, and it means you can call yourself a lord or a lady. And then it turns out, oh no, you don't actually own a plot of land in Scotland. Like, yeah, you have to be so dumb if you actually thought that you owned land in Scotland. Now, I've heard people compare it to when you buy a star and you name it and give that to somebody. It's the same idea. And if you thought it was anything different than that, you're just a complete dope. Like, how many of these are actually scams? Honey was a scam. Sure, I'll give you that one. What else?
very real and likely possibility. I've been saying that doing this job is making ends meet for a while, and it has in the sense that most months I end with my bank account at least nominally in the positive. Not all, but most.
Real as fuck.
But if making ends meet is supposed to entail things like being...
Yeah, that's so real that most months you don't even put out any content and you're still in the green most months. That's some class solidarity.
able to settle up your credit card debt or settle up personal loans you take from friends and loved ones, or being able to pay the 30% in taxes that freelancers own every April. Taking a full account, I have been running this channel at a loss for 7 years, and between back taxes I owe the government, a maxed out credit card that is in collections, and money I owe to a few people who've bailed me out, I have total...
Is that a dollar you're saying? Damn. Wow, that's crazy. You're not going to ask how that happened? You're just going to take him at face value? Oh, it's because YouTube. What is going on? How are you just going to take that at face value? Like, oh, geez, wow, YouTube is bad. I didn't realize it was this bad.
accumulated debt that is pushing $100,000.
This may sound insane for a channel with 500,000 subscribers plus on YouTube, But keep in mind, this guy uploaded once every 2 months, once a month, and that sounds like, oh, well, he's just lazy. You should just upload more. We've watched his videos before. These are 40-minute long, animated, well put together videos that, like, fundamentally, this type of content has.
Like, they're not. As I said earlier, at one point in time, it does seem like he did a little bit more of that. He put out less than an hour of content in the last year, okay? It just does not take you that long to do that. It doesn't.
Has to be supported by its audience ruthlessly to survive. ContraPoints and PhilosophyTube, these creators who make really good, well put together content that sometimes takes a year to make at the level of quality that's expected. These creators are held up by their Patreons because YouTube ad revenue, even on a video that pulls 10 million views, if you upload once a year, 10 million views won't do it on one video. YouTube.
Okay, is it really that it takes ContraPoints an entire year to make the one video? Or is it that she established an audience earlier on and got the Patreon up high and people like ContraPoints, so they're like, I'm fine kicking Contra a couple bucks a month and getting 1 or 2 videos a year. I think it's more that than it actually takes ContraPoints an entire year to make this video. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would be very surprised if it actually took ContraPoints 40 hours a week, 52 weeks, or 50 weeks a year to make those videos.
Even with, like,
And ContraPoints videos are decently more higher quality. She has like sets and stuff, or maybe she just has a very weird decorated house, and that's how her house looks. But it seems like she puts up sets and stuff for the videos, and maybe they're more researched. I don't know. I haven't watched a ContraPoints video in a long time, but at the very least, I could believe that a decent amount of work went into that. I do not believe that when I watch an Innuendo Studios video. All right, sure, some research went into it, some time went into the editing, but not grinding for 2 months to put out a 5-minute video.
When a video does well, past a certain point, ad space stops being valuable on a single video. 50 videos that accumulate to 10 million views, more often than not, will make you on YouTube more money than one video with 10 million views.
Well, yeah, because there's probably a longer run time if you do 50 separate videos. Maybe it's a 25-hour video that you put, but even then, you're going to struggle with the retention way more on a 25-hour video than if you have 51-hour videos. Like, it's about runtime, all right? You can put more ads in if you keep people on the website longer, and you get paid more for that. Like, yeah, no duh.
Different videos have different CPMs, meaning that, like, per view, how much money do you make? Or per click, how much money do you make? Different videos will get different CPMs. So the more videos you upload in a period of time, the more CPMs that you are essentially rolling the dice for. And those videos might do a variable different performance levels. You know, you can't control how well the videos do, but a video that gets 5,000 views as opposed to 25,000 might have a CPM that's 8 times higher than a video with 25,000 views. And it might just mog the video with 25,000 views and ad revenue off of a fraction of the viewership.
Sure, but the CPM is generally based on the genre of YouTube that you're in. You know who makes crazy money on YouTube, I bet? He probably outclasses everybody else who gets similar views and has similar subscribers to him, is Caleb Hammer. Because that guy has like 4 or 5 finance-related sponsorships in every video, and finance videos have some of the best CPMs out of any genre on YouTube. And he gets at least a couple 100,000 views a video, and he puts a couple out a week. Caleb Hammer probably makes stupid money, all right? But if you're like for Innuendo Studios, if this type of content, this genre doesn't work, then you just got to do something else. Right? You don't get points, you don't get credit for, oh, you chose an unviable content strategy. So now we have to keep it in our minds to like and comment and watch to the end to make sure you get paid.
YouTube really is that weird, and you really can't predict your income when it comes to ad revenue, I should say, to that level of certainty. It really is hinged. The only predictor you have is upload frequency. Like, if you upload frequently, that is really the only thing you can do that guarantees an increase in success. There's no security. Hell, I could wake up tomorrow to my channel being deleted, and if that happens, mind you, there is no recourse to get it back from YouTube. And it could just be a mistake behind the scenes on the system. I'd basically be cooked. I'd just have to make a new channel and hope that enough of you guys follow me to the new channel that we can start over. But yeah, like...
Sure. How often does that really happen, though? The same thing could happen at a regular job. You can just get fired out of nowhere.
That's how brutal it is out here.
And I'm not going to say I'm perfect at managing money. There wasn't a life I could have been living these past 7 years where I would have earned $100,000 more than I did.
Nonsense.
Backers on Patreon already know about this. When I told them,
I'd say on the like liberal estimate end, I'd say the most he ever made in a year was probably like around the rise of Breadtube era, like when Breadtube was really getting big, and I think he probably made like 200K maybe in his best year, but more often than not, probably like barely scraped 6 figures, which sounds like a lot, but ever since Breadtube's rise has also correlated directly with Trump just nuking the economy, COVID happening, and then Trump getting reelected and nuking the economy again. So there's not really been a Breadtube, as it used to be called, or a left tube, whatever you want to call it, in a time where the economy has been stable enough that like even a 6-figure, like a low 6-figure income in certain areas is enough to like break even comfortably. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the nice thing about being a YouTuber. You don't have to live in a big city to do it. Right? You can live in some rural area or in a smaller city and live comfortably off 6 figures. How is anybody supposed to take this? Oh, wow. Yeah, he's right. It must be hard to just scrape by on 6 figures a year doing YouTube. That's got to be rough.
Like, the fact that we're in America where now 6-figure income isn't necessarily that stable in a lot of parts of the country, I think speaks volumes. Could he have been better with his money? I'm sure. There's probably stuff we don't know. He's implying there's stuff we don't know, but like, still, 500,000 sub YouTuber, I can tell you that he's not making anywhere near as much as you think he is. No progressive YouTuber
Well, I saw that he made 6 videos this last year, so I didn't think he made very much money.
besides Hassan or that like sphere.
And that's what he deserves. If he's not going to put in work and put out content, he doesn't deserve to make a bunch of money, right? Like if he does, there are people who get away with that. They don't put out very much content and they make a bunch of money. I mean, great for them, but they don't deserve that.
As much as you think he is. No progressive YouTuber besides Hassan or that like sphere that orbits Hassan is. Maybe Vosh. Vosh is the one exception outside the Hassan orbit that's making money right now. Obviously, you've got your big channels like Brian Taylor Cohen and Fair and Balanced and stuff, but that's like borderline mainstream news now because mainstream news is online.
Okay, so the progressive content thing is so hard that some people who do it are considered mainstream by you? Yeah, wow, sounds really rough.
it was framed as, you know, I'm gonna probably do some kind of fundraiser or do a Patreon relaunch. There's a bunch of stuff I've been doing over on Patreon that I still hadn't even like announced here on YouTube yet, but I just can't take it anymore. This is just a lot of strain to put on me and to put on my family, and I've felt for a long time that like I'm on the verge of, you know, kind of like making it. Like I've been dancing around the periphery for a while, you know, back in 2020, right before COVID happened, you know.
Oh yeah, I was right.
The numbers were really doing good. The Patreon was really solid. I was making more.
Well, yeah, no duh. What a genius. Xanderhal knows that a few years ago was when Breadtube was the most popular it ever was. This guy's really got his finger on the pulse.
Money than I ever made, and it really seemed like it was going to keep heading that way, and then they just started to dip.
Progressive content has been on a steady decline since 2020, and yet through that time, Hassan's fan base grew as the rest of the left shrunk. And it makes me wonder how much of the online left was sort of absorbed by Hassan culturally and just exists in Hassan's chat. How much of it got absorbed over back to Tumblr over the years when Tumblr kind of, like, I think unbanned porn was a big thing they did. How much of the online left now is just living on Tumblr? They've left Twitter and YouTube.
Did Tumblr have a significant resurgence? I thought Tumblr was totally dead still. Maybe he's right, and Tumblr did have a revival. I have no idea if that's true. But Hassan is not the only popular lefty, right? And you know why Hassan is popular? So he engages people. All right, part of it, sure, you want to just say that he's hot or whatever, but he says lots of inflammatory stuff. People are covering Hassan-related drama all the time because he says some stuff that riles people up and gets people engaged.
How much of the online left now is just living on Tumblr? They've left Twitter and YouTube because of how awful it's gotten, and now, as much as I hate to say it, if things don't change soon, there's a good chance that in the coming year plus, maybe 1 or 2 years at the most, that the only progressive content creators you're going to have to watch when you log on to YouTube that are like dedicated leftist creators are Vosh, Hassan, and if you want to stretch the definition, Destiny. Like, obviously, you've got your Brian Taylor Cohen and stuff, but if we're talking, like, funny commentator, like, lefty Breadtube guys, that's the road we're on right now. And as much as I'd like to say it's...
Isn't this just kind of how it goes for every genre? There's just a couple people at the top who make a lot of money, and then you have some mid-tier people that do solid all right, and then a bunch of people who make a little bit of side income. Isn't that just pretty much every genre? Like, what genre is there where there's dozens of people making super lavish livings doing whatever it is?
It's because of YouTube. Yeah, the algorithms are unfriendly, but also look at the rates of engagement on these channels that you enjoy, and think about how often you yourself don't engage with these channels by leaving likes and comments.
It's your fault. It's your guys' fault, the viewers. All right, you have a responsibility to like and comment on the videos. I don't have any responsibility to say something that would make you like or dislike the video, or say something that would make you want to agree or disagree with me. No, that's not on me. I just put the content out and you guys owe me that.
I hate to say it, but if you're one of those people, you're part of the problem. Channels on, or any...
Okay, he actually says you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem. See, I thought he sort of understood it a tiny bit earlier when he said it's presumptuous. When people, these YouTubers talk about money, but I guess he was just talking about that's what the perception of what people, when YouTubers talk about making money. He doesn't actually seem to think that at all. Because he's sitting here and saying, you owe him likes, you owe him comments, you owe him engagement, just for him putting content out there.
Any content online grows in the algorithm based on the rate of engagement to the viewer count of that content. Let's say you post a tweet or a video or any form of post. 99% of internet algorithms have it set such that that post will be sent out to a random audience of people that are likely, based on some keywords, to have an interest in the post. Maybe it's like 50 people end up seeing it initially. Based on how many of those 50 people, let's say, clicked on one of my videos, how many of those people then decide to comment and leave a like on the video determines how many more impressions, as they're called, meaning how many more people get recommended the post to see it and then engage with it further. And the percentage of people that see the post and decide to hit like and or comment means it gets more people to see it. And if those more people then continue to like and comment, it creates a snowball effect that leads to, as we all know, a viral video. No viral video just blows up overnight, unless it comes from a channel with a large following already, or it's like a really special case scenario. It usually starts by getting a couple hundred or a few thousand views in a day or two, but the video itself is so exceptional, it gets so much engagement, likes, comments.
See, there, you actually touched on it. The video is exceptional. It's engaging. It's not that the people who watched it were convinced. We're told they have a responsibility to engage with the content. It's that they felt inclined to do so naturally by watching it.
Saves, favorites, shares, all those things, that the YouTube algorithm starts shilling it to everybody. And if it's appealing enough, next thing you know, it's got 1 million+ views. So the right is pulling millions of views without trying. This is the state of the left's largest creators, you could argue. Like Innuendo Studios, I'd consider, especially a few years ago, one of the left's largest creators. We're in a bad spot right now, guys. Like, no, I don't know how things are gonna go with the future of this country if this is where sentiment is, at least online. And
Yeah, if people who put out 5 mid videos a year can't make $200,000+ a year, we're in a rough state, man. I mean, that should be enough, right? Everybody should be able to put out 1 mixtape a year or upload 6 videos a year and make piles of money, right? And if that's not the case, we're in serious trouble.
and politics seems to exist online these days, so it's not a good sign.
And it's never really recovered. You know, once I hurt my back and I couldn't work for a while, and life just got more expensive. It's really seemed like, especially with joining Nebula and everything, it keeps feeling like if I could just hang on a little longer, I get it cracked. And I'd become one of those like fully self-sustained people, and maybe I would, you know, maybe if I could hold on a little longer, I would, but I can't keep struggling in the meantime.
Aww.
So
I'm going to open up about this, and I'm almost certain this is also a factor for him as well. I'm going to make an analogy here really quick. I want you to imagine that your job is cleaning up trash on the highway, right? Like you really are passionate about keeping the environment clean, and you know that a lot of people litter on the highway. So your job is to clean up trash along the highway. And you get paid $5 an hour to do this, right? And you are just doing back-breaking labor in order to do something good for the world. It's not like, yeah, the money's not great. You hope that one day you can make more and live a little more comfortable.
I'm assuming this is supposed to be an analogy for being a content creator, so it's back-breaking labor. All right, maybe that's not what he's doing, but that sounds like where we're going.
But money's not great. You hope that one day you can make more and live a little more comfortably. But what really matters to you is that you're making something, and maybe it could be more one day, but it's off of something you care about. It is something you are expressing a moral good that you stand by in your line of work, and that matters to you.
Yeah, well, anybody who makes a living doing something that they're passionate about is very privileged. Most people have to clock in and clock out to a job that, at best, they don't really mind or is all right. So many people truly actually grind at something that they hate 40+ hours a week. All right? So I don't know how you expect people like that to have any sympathy for people who get to do something they're passionate about and make a meager living. Especially someone like Xanderhal or Innuendo Studios, who I just do not believe is putting in 40 hours a week, week after week. All right? And especially in something competitive like YouTube. If you want to make a living out of that, you're probably going to have to put in more than 40 hours a week. It's very competitive. A lot of people want to do that.
That is a special thing to you. And then every day you see dudes in multi-$100,000 supercars wearing $1,000 outfits, screaming racial slurs at their car windows as they
Is this Hassan that we're talking about now?
outfits, screaming racial slurs at their car windows as they throw trash at you. And you deal with that every day for years and years and years as you hold on to hope that one day you're going to maybe get a fraction of the success they have. So when they do that, maybe it hurts a little less that they're going home to a much more lavish lifestyle than you could ever hope to experience.
I mean, how pathetic. You're getting hurt that other people are making a good living, that other people are rich. Like, I get if you feel that in the moment or whatever, temporarily, but if that's something that you carry around with you, you got to grow up. You can't sit around being upset that other people make comfortable livings and they don't have to work as hard as you. That's just a pathetic mindset.
Going home to a much more lavish lifestyle than you could ever hope to experience. Maybe you're even just outright struggling to get by, more likely than not. And meanwhile, these infinitely worse people are making way more money off of expressing their lack of moral character. Try your best to put yourself in those shoes, and that's really the best way I can describe how I feel personally.
Okay, so yes, that was supposed to be an analogy for what he's doing. Okay, so then, like I said, if this is something that you're passionate about, this is something that you would love to make a living doing, that's to me what being passionate about something means, then you should be okay with making just an all right living, not being rich, because you're passionate about doing this. All right? Because then you could do this thing that you're passionate about, make your decent living, and maybe you got to work 2 shifts at the grocery store a week or something like that. Is that really so bad? I don't feel bad for you if that's the state that you're in. And besides that, you don't have to do that. You could make more engaging content. You could stream longer, have better topics, or whatever it is, and make the money doing this thing that you're supposedly passionate about.
When I see the average right-wing grifter like the quartering makes, I believe, like 6 figures a month. It recently came out as maybe less so now, but like a year or two ago, it leaked that he was making 6 figures a month.
If he's making 6 figures a month now, then he is running his business like the dumbest rock of all. All right. Like, yeah, obviously he is running his business like an absolute dope because he's sitting around begging people to bail out his coffee company. But if he's making $100,000+ a month and his expenses are so much that he has to beg for people to keep his coffee company afloat, that's absurd. Maybe I could see maybe at one point that he was. I think on a Kino Casino summit, they were talking about how his views are down 50% from what they were 2 years ago. So maybe then he was making 100,000 a month between everything that he does. But I don't think he's doing that these days. Maybe a few 10,000, but not 100,000. No way.
Like, that's life-changing money, and far from what I think most online leftist figures could make in a lifetime. And when that's the reality, when you're like struggling to get
But you have equivalents of that on the left. You have the Hassans, you have the David Packmans, you have the Brian Tyler Cohens who make stupid money like that every month. You have the ContraPoints who I don't know what ContraPoints Patreon is, but I'm sure it's ridiculous. H Bomber Guy, I'm pretty sure H Bomber Guy does the same sort of thing where he uploads 1 or 2 videos a year and lives off the Patreon.
by in comparison to that, and what they stand for is objectively evil, it feels like it's just evil being rewarded every day, and it's just this demotivating factor that I can only imagine is severely
It's like, wow, I wonder why your content isn't very effective when you say, oh, what I do, it's like picking up garbage. I'm basically cleaning up the environment every day by what I do with my work, but the people who disagree with me politically, they're evil. Really? Like, yeah, I'm generally a lefterly type guy and I disagree with the quarterings of the world on most things. But if I was going to do politically minded content where I'm trying to bring people over to my side, I wouldn't sit there and say, "Oh, the people who disagree with me are idiots, they're evil." I would try to make points and substantiate them. I mean, how do you expect it to bring anybody over to your side and have effective, engaging content when your answer to the people disagreeing with you is that they're evil? I mean, how brain dead is that?
it's just this demotivating factor that I can only imagine has severely impacted his mental health. You know, especially when his job is to cover the successful, wealthy, well-off people who are destroying the world and are getting paid to destroy the world. And the people who claim to be against it are not really rallying in support to stop it or rallying in support of content calling it out. And it's a very demotivating thing. It's depressing. It's like Denethor in Lord of the Rings when he's like the steward of Gondor, when like Sauron's army is invading, Denethor's just like looking out and it looks hopeless, and he yells, "Abandon your posts! Flee! Flee for your lives!" Great line delivery. He cooked. But it gives me that feeling, you know, it reminds me of that scene.
For now, we're going to call this a sabbatical. I'm not officially quitting. It's possible I will find part-time work, which means that, you know, if it's enough hours that it brings in decent money that I could supplement Patreon and AdSense with, I could keep doing this part-time, which is, you know, when I started out, that's what it was. It was a thing I was juggling with freelancing in school, so maybe that's an option. I have to see what's out there. But at least for the next month or so, kind of my mindset is to live my life with the question, what if I wasn't a YouTuber? Like, how would I spend my time? Where would I put my energies? What would I work on if you didn't always have that gnawing feeling of like, I should be working on?
Oh, I should also mention, by the way, it's not just that, by the way, the factor that I mentioned before of like awful people making bank off of being awful people online. It's also the fact that like one of the right's biggest attacks lately has been the fact that being a progressive creator is not financially, like, it doesn't make a lot of money. And they'll tongue-in-cheek call you a grifter while pointing that out, which is hilarious. But also, they gloat about it, right? Like, they gloat, and they even use it as an argument for why the left is wrong, right? Like, if the left was making good points and was correct, then people would watch their content and support what they have to say. But look how little support they get. Look how little reach they have. Clearly, they have nothing of value to say. And that rhetoric is actually very successful.
Well, if they were saying that about you, Xanderhal, I would have to agree with them. Ah, look how ineffective this guy is. Look how uninteresting he is. Look at how little money that he makes doing this. How embarrassing. No wonder nobody watches this guy.
Clearly, they have nothing of value to say. And that rhetoric is actually very successful. We know nowadays the internet is very prone to the bandwagon effect. So the running success of conservative cultural rhetoric just kind of picks people up like a lint roller, you know? Like if people are lint, that rhetoric and that culture is a lint roller, and it's just kind of gathering up more and more and more.
Thank you for adding that on, specifying that the viewers would be the lint there. I was like, lint roller? How is that related at all? But okay. Other things in the analogy are lint. Now I get it.
And that culture is a lint roller, and it's just kind of gathering up more and more and more.
My video, you know, what would my home look like? What would my social life look like? How would my free time look? Free time is a concept.
That drives me so nuts that he does that. Oh, free time. You can believe that. All right, I put out 5 videos already this year. This is already my 6th video this year, so I don't even know what free time is. Shut up. Shut up. I don't believe you for a second. In this video, he talks about how he spends time playing video games and watching movies. And supposedly it's supposed to be worth it that he spends time playing video games because he makes a 1-minute review a week.
We're just gonna see what that's like. So maybe part-time work, maybe the channel sticks around in some capacity, you know. Maybe I'll do something that leaves me energy on the weekends. Maybe I'll collaborate with people. But right now I'm not promising anything. I've been doing this for 11 years.
Well, you weren't promising anything before this either, all right?
And it's weird to say that it is the most financially stable I've ever been, because when I started this job, I was only a year or 2 off of food stamps, you know? But it's just never made the kind of income that lets you trust that you're going to be able to cover your expenses 3-4 months from now. You know, I have no...
What I've really noticed is that people online in general, and the left is not immune to this, seem to pull their money around already successful people. And I feel like that's kind of like the donation effect, right? Using my stream and like Vosh's as an example. If you want to get the attention of Vosh and get him to read your message and acknowledge your existence, a common thing among stream viewers, you know, kind of parasocial in nature, you got to donate more likely than not. You got to sub or like donate or give him money in some way. right? Because he's already big and successful and the chat's so loaded with people, which means inherently everybody watching has to donate to stand out. You know what I mean? Like, it leads to this.
I mean, sure, you have a better chance if you donate or subscribe with your comment. I think from the streams that I watch, you have a pretty decent chance if you just actually at the creator, because then your thing shows up with a color next to it or whatever. It's more bold compared to all the other chats. But okay, sure.
High level of incentive to support, but you have to already be inherently well off to have that incentive to support even more. And so when you're a smaller creator who can easily be gotten the attention of just from a chat message, people are less likely to drop their financial support to like leave a little dono message. And so you know, smaller creators get less donations, not just because they have less viewers, because those viewers they have are less likely to need to donate or feel they need to donate to get like attention from the streamer, right? Which is,
I mean, maybe there's something to that, or it could just be that the people who get more donations and get more viewers do so because people like them more. And people like Xanderhal, who don't have as many viewers and don't get as many donations, people don't like them as much, so they don't feel as inclined to give them money. Right? Like there could be a little bit of something to he's saying. I wouldn't doubt that entirely, but I don't think that's the thrust of it at all.
it's generally like the trade-off in most of those like arrangements, I think. But yeah, I've noticed that as well.
No savings. There's nothing for retirement. I owe more than I make in a year. Outside of a few big names, probably almost all of your favorite YouTubers are doing worse than you think. So for the time being,
That's true.
I'm gonna leave the Patreon turned on at least for like a few months. There's a bunch of stuff.
I think here's where I'm going to cut it off so you guys can go watch the video yourselves and give it like support on your own. But like just to speak volumes about how right he is. I mean, look how dead the chat has been for the last bit of this segment, you know? Like we're literally having a conversation about how lack of engagement with progressive content is what's kind of killing the online left. And
Are we having a conversation about that, or is that just your stupid idea that you keep repeating, Xanderhal?
like chatters are listening to this and like, yeah, but that doesn't count me. Like, I don't need to say anything. You know, I think I'm not calling you guys out. I'm just using it as a point of example, you know, like even right.
Okay, you are though, Xanderhal. You said they're part of the problem earlier. You literally said that if people are mooching off of your content and not liking and commenting, they're part of the problem.
Now, most of the chat is doing exactly that, you know, just very quiet, just kind of lurking, you know, trying to exist in the background and just listen to content. It's 3 a.m., Zan?
Yeah, there we go. I was going to read the commenter, but they said, one of them says, it's 2:20 a.m. for me, and then KGB says, it's 3 a.m., Zan. And then another person, I'm sorry, it's 1:30 a.m. I'm tired. So this idiot is streaming after midnight and wondering why the chat's not super active. Hey, bro, a lot of people in this stream probably literally fell asleep to it. And you're wondering why they're not chatting, right? Because you bored them to tears or to sleep.
I'm not saying that I'm not calling you out. I'm just using it as a point of example, you know? Progressive viewers tend to be, you know, lurkers, and they just kind of hang out, you know? I feel like we got to make a culture.
The vast majority of people are lurkers. Most people are perfectly content to just watch, listen, and go on their way.
Out of being more just locked in and active. I've even been kind of guilty of this myself, I'm not gonna lie. I've watched a lot less political content lately, and because of that, I've not been engaging, liking, and commenting on my favorite political content creators as much lately. And I remember when I was
Oh, so you're part of the problem, you disgusting mooch. You're a leech on your favorite content creators.
and commenting on my favorite political content creators as much lately. And I remember when I was younger, maybe some of you guys can relate to this. I worry that I'm causing this problem in some of my favorite creators all the time. It's one of my biggest anxieties. You ever watch a creator, you really like them, and you love their content, but like you're not always in the mood to watch the content they make, right? Like maybe they make Rust videos. Rust is my favorite video game. But some days I wake up and I'm not in the mood to watch Rust videos where guys like killing dudes on Rust and they're like screaming in response. Some days I'm super into that and I want to binge those videos from morning to sunset, and some days I'm just not down to watch that particular content. I worry, and this has happened before, where like I take a hiatus from watching that particular content, maybe for a few months, maybe for a year, maybe 2, and I tune into that content after getting the twinge to watch it again to that channel or whatever, and I go to check it out, and I find out, oh, they haven't uploaded in 6 months. They basically quit after their channel slowly died off. I guess I wasn't the only one that just took a little break from watching the content, you know? And I find out that like I kind of became a little bit what's a good way of putting this? This happened with some of my favorite creators, by the way, such as Fods and Skitscape, great Minecraft YouTubers from back in the day. Where like I got really complacent with the idea that I could always just check out their content and tune in and watch whatever they're up to at any time, right? I just became comfortable with the idea that they're just going to continue growing, right? Like obviously, like
He said this is one of his biggest anxieties. So this dope actually believes that viewers have some sort of obligation to engage in the content. I can't believe that this idiot actually really thinks this, that no, it's not that the content creator has an obligation to make engaging content if they want to succeed. They're just owed engagement. And it's one of his biggest anxieties that he might lose interest temporarily in somebody's content and then come back later and they're not making the content. As if he's meant to prop these people up. How is this your view on how YouTube works?
they're there, right? And so I would just occasionally take a couple months breaks from watching their videos and then tune back in and binge watch their stuff. And then eventually I tuned in and saw that they were on a hiatus. And I was like, ah, damn, like I guess they're not, and it slowly led to them essentially no longer being active on YouTube. And these were like my favorite creators. And I realized then, like, and this happened with the Creatures and many others, it's like, damn, you know, it's easy to get complacent.
I think the Creatures was like one of those collaborative channels. Maybe it was that people lost interest and that was why they stopped. I feel like with those group channels, it's always, one, it's harder to manage everybody's time and stuff, but also just interpersonal issues. I could be totally wrong about why the Creatures failed. I might not even be remembering what channel that is correctly, but I think that was like a group of gamers who did collaborative content together. And I would guess that it was just some people kind of fell out with each other, they weren't as close of friends as they used to be, or stuff like that. But maybe it was just the viewership decline. I definitely don't know for sure.
Thinking that like a realm or community of content will be there forever. Think like the old Minecraft community. It's like communities on the internet are fleeting at times, and it's easy to blink and see it be gone.
Yeah, because you can't do the same thing forever and ever. People will lose interest if it's just the same thing over and over and over again. Hey guys, welcome to episode 247 of my Minecraft Let's Play. In this episode, we're going to build something. Like, yeah, people are going to get bored of that after a while. You know, you can churn new viewers for a while and keep it going like that, but you're going to be very hard pressed to find some form of content that infinitely grows while you just keep doing the same thing.
From Yasuke Vermeulen in chat says, have you considered making better content? Must be the viewer's fault. You are clearly a conservative in chat to concern troll. And I'll actually...
I must be a conservative troll as well then, because I agree with that guy. Have you thought about making more interesting content, Zan? And he's offended that somebody would ask him that. So does he really think that this is why his channel is doing worse than it was? Is because people don't feel that responsibility to like, comment, and subscribe. I can't believe what an utter dope this guy is. Just a complete dolt.
From Yasuke Vermeulen in chat says, have you considered making better content? Must be the viewer's fault. You are clearly a conservative in chat to concern troll. And I'll actually use you as an argument before we finish up the segment. Like I said before, you will deal with people like these constantly anytime you try to acknowledge this. The right doesn't want there to be a conversation on the left about the fact that, like, algorithms objectively work the way they do, and if the left is going to reach a broader audience, then like the audiences have to engage. They want to try and turn your audience against you.
It's driving me nuts hearing him get this so backwards over and over again.
The audiences have to engage. They want to try and turn your audience against you when you have that conversation by saying, oh, well, why don't you just make better content? Doesn't matter how good the content is. Like, algorithms work the way they do. And sure,
What do you mean it doesn't matter how good the content is? Like, I'm not going to sit here and say it's a perfect meritocracy where Mr. Beast has literally the best content on YouTube. But yes, the quality of the content absolutely matters. Like, now that I've done this for a while, I'm a pretty firm believer that if you consistently put out engaging content of a decent quality, you will have some level of success on YouTube. Like, I feel that pretty firmly now at this point. But I guess Xanderhal disagrees with that. So maybe if I do what he's doing, I can get down to 500 subscribers and cut my views in half.
like, algorithms work the way they do. And sure, I could make better content, but that's a given. You know, you try to make your last video better than you try to make your next video better than the last video every time. That's just a given in content creation. But like that, we're talking about a conversation separate from that fact. I think.
Do you have any examples of how you've continued to make your content better?
Most people who watch Innuendo Studios, the 500,000 sub YouTuber, I think they like his content. I think he makes good content personally, and I'm sad he's going. So yeah, I don't think that Innuendo Studios, for example, needed to just make better content. So yeah. Anyway.
Maybe not. His quality of content was probably fine. He needed to make more content. That was his problem. Again, less than an hour of content in the last year.
Studios, for example, needed to just make better content. So yeah. Anyway. You're always going to get the people that want to, like, concern troll you into not having this conversation because, yeah, the internet's a little cagey about it, but it is what it is. Bro came in to mass flag with his 5 ults. Maybe, who knows? Anyway, though, if you enjoyed this segment and you want to support the channel, don't just support my channel, mind you, but all your favorite progressive channels. Make it a habit to leave a like, a comment.
Don't support Xanderhal's channel. If I find out any of you have been giving him a like or a subscribe, I will ban you from my channel.
And subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications. It's totally free, and it really actually does help, so I really do appreciate it. And of course, if you want to follow my social medias and see stuff from me on other platforms, you can. I've even got a fan Discord where I do not one-on-one, but like I
think that's probably good. We don't need to do any of that. So I think as a bonus here, which shout out to the Nick16. That's a guy who he wrote out all these timestamps and he shared them in Chud Logic's Discord. So I think this is a different one.
From Yasuke Vermeulen in chat says, have you considered making...
Okay, no, that's that guy. He didn't ask if he's considered making better content.
He doesn't believe that God exists because he doesn't believe that...
Okay, yeah, here we go. This is what I was looking for.
AI is God, but believe that God exists.
Watch Zan.
Because he doesn't believe that AI is God, but...
One sec. I'm having terrible indigestion.
So he was about to puke there. I'll run it back one more time. I mean, I can move it over a little bit more.
True religion. So the atheist doesn't believe that God exists because he doesn't believe that AI is God, but...
One sec. I'm having terrible indigestion.
He runs away from stream. Ooh, he's gone for a while. My goodness, he really was. He was not feeling well at all. Multiple minutes
boy.
here.
Probably that was a nightmare. Oh boy, that was a nightmare. Oh. Well, I probably look awful right now, but I just threw up. Not gonna lie. Had real bad
Oh no, Zan, I feel so bad for you. Why did you throw up?
indigestion. Have been fighting it this whole segment, and I lost the battle. Sad day. Sad day. I also might have eaten something a little funky, but you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna continue. We're gonna continue. Because I love you guys, and I promised you that we had these segments we're gonna do, and we're gonna do them. I'm not feeling great though. And I apologize if I have to excuse myself again. I might have eaten something a little funky. And I don't feel great. But we're gonna push through. Because that's that we're just Giga Chad like that. Hydrate, brother. I did run out of water a little bit. So I should probably take a sip.
Yeah, if you just puked, you definitely should take a sip. You just expelled a bunch of liquid from your body.
Oh. Yeah, guys, not feeling great. But Ethan can handle this bit in post, so now we resume.
Okay. So he just gets back into the content here, but this guy, the Nick 16, he has, I think this is just when he comes back here, this one. He has a theory as to why Xanderhal might have been feeling sick. Okay, well, that's taking a while to load here. I think that's the wrong one anyway, so not waste my time. But I don't know if this guy is like a regular A-logger of Xanderhal or what. But he has a theory, a health-related theory as to why Xanderhal might be feeling sick, and he mentions it at the beginning of this other stream here.
All right, chat. For those who weren't here, towards the end of stream last time, I was live last stream doing the second to last segment I had planned out for the stream, and I started to feel really icky halfway through that segment. I was like, ugh, I feel like lightheaded and a bit nauseous. Like, I feel like I have to burp really bad, but I just can't, no matter how much I try. You know, I feel nauseous and kind of gross, but you know what? I'm going to push through. I'm going to finish up this stream as promised. And then I started to feel like my stomach contract, such as to like either force out a burp or force me to vomit, and it felt like the burp wasn't going to come up. And I was like, fuck, man. And so I ran to the bathroom after pausing stream for a minute, ran to the bathroom and proceeded to just throw up for like 20 seconds. Like, not straight, but like intermittently for about 20 seconds. And I was able to get like my stomach like satisfied enough that I was able to just kind of like gargle some mouthwash and clean out my mouth and brush my teeth really fast and then come back down. And then I resumed the segment and then did an extra segment after, even though I had a bit of stomach acid in my sinuses. It was awful. I am pretty certain I know the reason why it happened, though. I wasn't sick, you know, it ended immediately. I didn't feel sick or anything like that besides just, you know, the intense pressure in my stomach. It's because I'm bulking.
It's because he's bulking. And he gets more into specifics of what his bulking entails here. I mean, how long have you been doing this bulking, Xanderhal? Right? Because you look like you're in my weight class still.
You know, the intense pressure in my stomach. It's because I'm bulking. For those that don't know, like, a lot of bulking is eating until you want to throw up, and then fighting to hold it all down, while keeping in mind all that as long as you don't throw up, all of this becomes muscle. You know what I mean? So I've been.
Wait, just like that? You just consume a bunch of calories and it becomes muscle? I could have sworn there was like some working out involved in there, or involved in that.
For those that don't know, like, a lot of bulking is eating until you want to throw up, and then fighting to hold it all down, while keeping in mind all that as long as you don't throw up, all of this becomes muscle.
Also, is that true? if you can believe it, I don't know anything about bulking, but I wouldn't think you have to push yourself to the point of almost throwing up. I think you could go a little bit below that level and still probably have solid results. Maybe not. Maybe you have to make yourself feel sick and disgusting regularly in order to bulk, but I feel like that's probably not true, and you could maybe go a little bit below that.
You know what I mean? So I've been eating and drinking a lot of calories, and I literally just drank 1,300 calories worth of whole milk and whey powder.
It had 1,300 calories of whole milk, and whey protein. Yeah, wow, what a shock that you threw up. I mean, that sounds disgusting. That's just sloshing around in your stomach. Yeah, no wonder you had to leave to expel that from your system.
I mean, so I've been eating and drinking a lot of calories, and I literally just drank 1,300 calories worth of whole milk and whey powder. Well, I don't know if it's whey powder. I think it's whey powder and like carbs, like some kind of, it's like carbon protein shake. It's mass gainer, and it's 1,300 calories and 50 grams of protein. And dude, it definitely hits your stomach hard when you're bulking. I haven't experienced that since I unwisely tried to bulk too fast as an overweight novice. Well, I'm an underweight novice, and yeah, I'm experiencing it. Even right now, I'm experiencing it because I just finished one. But I'm not feeling too icky today compared to last
Did you do 1,300 calories again of whole milk and protein powder?
time. So I don't think I'm gonna feel sick. But if I do, I'm gonna play it safe, and sooner rather than later, I'm gonna step away and like close my eyes, grab a water, and try to like hit a stretch and a quick walk around to see if I feel better.
I gotta be, I just feel like it's wrong. Is it really everybody who's bulking walks around feeling like trash all day? Again, I really think you could just go one or two levels below that and have solid results and not feel like garbage. And I mean, I gotta be honest, I'm just not gonna take what a guy that looks like this seriously at all when he's talking about how you bulk. All right, I don't think I believe that it's working for you, Zan. All right, maybe later on down the road, I'll have to eat my words on that. But for now, I'm not buying it. I don't think this guy knows the ins and outs of bulking.
I did hear that most people have a mild allergy to milk. Well, I'm not lactose intolerant, particularly because I drink so much milk every single day. It's impossible for me to become lactose intolerant, I'm pretty sure. But, nah, it's not because of that. It's just the amount of food and the amount that I'm drinking in terms of, like, calories. It's just my stomach is so full. I feel so, like, just on the edge of nausea almost always. So
This has just got to be wrong. I mean, this just sounds so stupid the more and more that he goes on. Oh, yeah, you have to drink so much whole milk that you want to expel it from your body at any moment. And also, how nasty. Whole milk? I don't really drink milk at all. I haven't since I was like a kid. But I never could do the whole milk thing. That way too thick and gross. It was like drinking sludge. And then you're gonna mix it with protein powder? Ugh. Just drinking white goo.
like just on the edge of nausea almost always. So in a little bit I should start to feel hungry again, which is preferable to feeling super full. Yeah, dairy is like the only animal product that hurts the people that consume it as much as it hurts the animals. Yeah, fuck, that's actually pretty fair. Oh no, Amy the Witch, that fucking sucks.
He's talking about the witch. That's all that was. Just a little cap on the segment of Xanderhal running away from stream to puke because he drank 1,300 calories of whole milk and protein powder. And apparently that's bulking. He didn't mention a single thing about working out in that. It's just consume until you feel sick, and then that all turns into muscle, according to Xanderhal. So if you weren't convinced by the first part of this segment that the dude is an utter dolt, you should be by now. And that's really all I wanted people to get out of this is that Xanderhal is a worthless idiot. He doesn't understand at all making engaging content, and he thinks he's owed people liking and commenting and subscribing on his channel. Rather than, if he wants to succeed, he needs to make engaging content that makes people feel inclined to do that already. He's got it completely backwards. And to be clear, if I shared Xanderhal's mindset and you watched this video and you didn't like or dislike, I'll take either one. I don't mind. But if you don't rate the video, if you don't comment or subscribe, you're part of the problem. All right? You are the problem. It's not my content that's the problem. I don't have to meet any standard of content. You owe it to me. And if you don't do that, you're part of the problem. All right? And you know that Xanderhal is right because he said such smart stuff about bulking as well. So he's right about content creation. He's right about bulking. Dude's got it all figured out.